All right, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Happy Monday. And we got the Monday market report, as you would expect, to drop on at the beginning of every week. Looking forward to talking about our crop of coins this week, all coming courtesy of Great Collections, a fantastic website for not only buying coins, some of your upmarket stuff, but also if you're looking to sell some of your collection, it's also probably one of the more premier outlets to do so today. All of the coins, of course, are post-1900 modern graded coins. Great kind of barometer check on how everything is going in numismatics. All kind of, that cream at the top, the modern world of coins. If they're doing good, then you better believe that a lot of the other earlier pieces are doing as good, if not better as well. We're continuing to see just continuous big, huge pushes on the auction scene for what I consider to be some of the more better market pieces, your registry set pieces, your clean, details-free grade coins of all types. As you guys know, details grades generally consist of damage, corrosion, anything like that would otherwise detract from the overall appearance of these coins. But I can honestly say, based off of a little bit shorter list than what we've normally had here in the last few weeks, that we have some pretty big coins to talk about. And most specifically, as you guys know, we're going to talk a little bit about these incredible 5-digit Lincolns. Anything $10,000 and over, you guys need to kind of know what you have to do to possibly, grade one of these. There's going to be a few different pieces of criteria. I don't normally recommend just grading anything willy-nilly because for a lot of these, there's no safety net. It's either top grade or bust. But we're going to talk about a couple of pieces that popped up on GC here last week that I think needs a little bit more attention because they're kind of polar opposites. You have one incredibly high mintage example, and then you also have this other coin that's a lot earlier, still modern and by nature, but it's a perennial kind of conditional key date. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. As usual, I'm your host, Sean, with Blue Ridge, and I want to thank you guys for joining in this morning. Hopefully you guys have a fantastic start to your week with this Monday market report for the week ending March 13th, 2022. All right, so this is the Daylight Savings Time special, and we're going to start it off with this beauty right here, a 1995 Lincoln Memorial Cent. And this is going to be a kind of exercise in recognizing specific coins that have a pretty wide range of value across multiple grade levels. Now, you can see here, this one's no slouch at a PCGS Mid-State 68 Plus, full red. This is a kind of like that first grade type, I guess you would say, that is highly investable and highly collectible, but by no means is it the highest known grade of a 95. All right, go ahead and check it out. It's also the doubled die obverse. These are actually quite common, and it's quite common to actually walk into a coin shop and find a nice mid-state example for around $50. Generally, these were found in rolls 27 years ago. I can't even believe I'm saying that. It seemed like just yesterday that 1995 coins dropped, and these were all over the news. So they were certainly the rage. It's also CAC certified, which is also a relevant aspect to the coin. It's a certification service that certifies and audits the third-party grading sites and their numerical grade that they assign to these. So that's important to have kind of like the double certification here. Now, at this grade level with the CAC, this one sold for $967.50, keeping in mind it's not the top grade, but it puts a little perspective on that whole safety net conversation, finding coins that if you landed at a few grade points lower, it's not the end of the world. Where you don't want to be on the 95 DDO as far as grade is about maybe 66, and I would even say 67. You normally would have to be a higher grade than 67, and considering its age and all that, it's really not that hard of a number to achieve. You just need to be a little bit more discerning when it comes to your grading ability. But yeah, this is a great coin here at just a few bucks shy of $1,000. It's going to be one that I would say will enhance in value over time because the populations on 68 pluses is quite light. So pretty nice coin here. Now here's a 1950p Lincoln wheat cent. Now this is one of those dates that people like to target. Anything from 50 to about, I would say, 54. Philadelphia minted coins during this little 4 or 5 year span are all quite scarce. Overall quality just wasn't really that good back then. And that's the bigger reason why that a lot of the BU rolls that was left out there of these specific dates just kind of disappeared because people were really interested in cherry picking high premier grade registry set pieces. This one right here is a 67 red through PCGS, so it certainly fits all the requirements of a high-end registry set for Lincolns. This one is sold for $1,439.91. 1950 is probably the more common out of the 4 or 5 dates of PMIT 1950s Lincolns. Now, good to see this one back on the list. We have a 1943S Steely, one of my favorites. And when one of these comes up that's worth mentioning, you better believe it's going to be added to the list. It's everybody's favorite, I guess, one-year type, considering that, this was a move imposed by the Mint to preserve some of the, copper and nickel and various other metals necessary for the war efforts. So as a substitute, they did a zinc-coated steel cent. Boy, these things are pretty when they are in mint-state condition. This one right here, mint-state 68 through PC. CAC certified as well. Just a really pretty-looking coin, obviously. This has kind of like a dual purpose registry set. This would fit in perfectly in there. But people will want to invest in these coins as well, but they have to be the right kind of grade. This one right here is sold for $3,712.50. Again, a very strong market for these. Now, here's the first Lincoln that we're going to talk about. This is, at first glance, you can't really see a $10,000 and over example right here. It's a 1941D. It's old enough to matter, but at the same time, the mintage is just ridiculous on this particular date. And it's a Denver. Denver coins generally, and especially in the 1940s, had pretty good quality. Even to this day, Denver is synonymous with quality, going all the way up to the current date of coins. This one right here, Mint State 68 Red, is a just spectacular and a noteworthy grade because there aren't a lot of examples graded at the highest level. This is a top pop coin right here. It's a registry set coin. Never in my wildest dreams would I consider investing in these. There's just some coins that are kind of forbidden fruit unless you were in the game of registry set building. Outside of that, I wouldn't put, no pun intended, one red cent into these because me personally, that's not my collecting direction. This one right here is sold for $14,625. Keep in mind, that's a lot of money. That's well over $10,000 kind of threshold that I was talking about. But when it comes to these coins, these show up so infrequently in grades above Mint State 65. Even if you were lucky enough to find, say, a BU roll, more than likely, you're not going to be finding anything that grades a lot higher than that 65. It's just, when a coin like this pops up on the scene, you just can't help but notice, what does a 67 plus sell for? Maybe $1,000, if that. What does a 67 sell for? Under $100? Yeah, there's no safety net. It's all or nothing. This is one of those coins that people dream about, but end up going broke trying to obtain it by way of grading one themselves. So $14,625 was the final hammer on this. Now, something that I would say is a better target, all right, are going to be some of the earlier pre-1930 Lincolns in any conceivable color designation, whether it's brown, or red. If you can find it and you can cherry pick one, you have a big money coin, especially if they have a Denver or San Francisco mint mark. They just seem to be incredibly scarce. This one right here, I would say, gets bonus points for the little bit of blue toning on both sides of the coin. It's a fun coin to look at, and again, this one more than likely is going to get targeted to someone who's collecting just a Lincoln set series and they need a premier example, but not necessarily a registry set. And a typeset collector will want this as well. And you might even say that investors might target something like this too. For that, portfolio. Mint State 66 red brown. It is NGC graded this time around. However, this one ended up selling for $1,293.75. And then finally, this is our other 5-figure Lincoln set. Now, in terms of what you want to buy with over $10,000, let's say if you had $10,000 sitting in a couch cushion somewhere, and that's all you had, like extra money. This would be the coin right here that I would, without question, target, based off its scarcity as a full red date and mint mark. And you could say the same for any other Denver or San Francisco up to about 1916, all right? These are absolutely amazing chase pieces when they do come up in the marketplace. They get scooped up right away, and so few of them exist raw, full red, brown, or even brown with a little toning on there. You're going to have to do some pretty deep digging, and oftentimes those dealers will be asking moon money for an otherwise raw coin. This one right here, 66 plus red through PCGS, ended up selling for a stout $12,436.88. Which again, that's kind of like that sky's the limit kind of conversation. I could see these things going up a whole lot more as the market becomes more dry to these type of just premier pieces. All right, we do have some nickels to talk about. We might as well get this one out of the way. It's probably between this and the next coin, my two least favorite coins, 1981p. There's been a little bit of a heightened awareness for 81, 82, 83, and 84 Jeffersons with full steps. And they all seem to be kind of like that Mint State 66. Nothing higher, nothing lower. It's like this is the sweet spot grade to some targeted, very calculated buyouts. Probably more so from a registry set perspective. The coin's in nice shape. It's got luster, but these are just not my favorite in general. You're really on a slippery slope when you're looking and talking about coins like this. Is it really full steps? I mean, we see some of those planchet nicks there on the bottom step. How does it look in hand? There's a lot of variables that go into it, because normally I would say Great Collections takes probably some of the best pictures in the business. However, all right, they can't take the full perfect in-hand view of what this coin is. And that's something that needs to be taken into consideration when we're talking about full strike designated coins. 66 full steps, where did this one end up at? $1,293.75. I just dawned on me that's the same amount of money as the 28D sold for a few minutes ago. And then this one right here is a true marvel of just dumpster fire quality luster. I mean, the luster is non-existent. You see a lot of what appears to be die file lines all over the place, as if this coin, or the dies rather, had a lot of clashing that the mint employees were trying to file off and hide. And this is kind of like a byproduct of that coin that I would say I don't know. It's not me. It's not me, but I will talk about it because it is on the list, and price-wise, I think it overachieved. Now, it's a 1960, it did, for some unknown reason, happen to get full steps, considering that every graded coin, as it's graded, is not looked at by just one individual, but a number of people actually audit the grading that's imposed on these. This one's also part of the Compadore collection. I hope I got that pronounced correctly. But again, this is going to be a registry set coin if you need it. It's just not the premier looking eye appeal type of piece that you want if you expect to sell it again later on. This one sold for $2,765.25. At the end of the day, ladies and gentlemen, I think I know a better direction of where that money should head other than things like this. More like this. How about 37S? By comparison, it is a much more better intriguing coin. Plus, it's an obsolete design. This one right here is a little bit tougher. It is an S-Mint coin, but it is from the 30s. And I would say if you're looking for a raw mint-state example, they are out there for around $150 to $200. That's how much I've paid for my last couple examples. These did exist in BU rolls as recently as about 15 years ago, I believe. And people were going through them. They were looking for registry set coins back when it was beginning to become more of a revolution than just something that, had built up and improved over time. But this one right here, Mint State 67, you can't really turn your head away against. Neither the toning, because it is fantastic. It's also CAC certified. And this one sold for $2,419.88. This coin, ladies and gentlemen, sold for a few $100s less than the 60 Jefferson that we just looked. You take a look at both coins, and it's just an unfair advantage. This one's a higher grade. You don't have to worry about strike designation, and it's one of the most popularly collected series on the face of the earth. I would say, hands down, this is the true winner of the nickel bunch today. And here's a 15D as well. Now, this is a much tougher, earlier date Buffalo. It is Mint State 66, and yes, it's got a little bit of a counterclockwise rotated die error on here. But that's not the real reason why it's sold. It's a Mint State 66. It's just an insanely high grade for a really, really tough date. And that's something to take into consideration as you're cherry picking and looking for these raw coins. They are tough, but when you do come across them, you really know you have a gem on your hand. This one sold for $4,612.50, and that is all the money on this one. All right, now we're on to dimes. And quick little, word of warning. The scratches that you see on the coin is actually on the actual plastic slab. It's not on the coin. But what we have here is a 1965 Roosevelt dime coming straight out of a fresh special mint set. But the grade is where it's at. It's a SP68 Cameo. These were special strikes that kind of bridged the gap between the desire of the U.S. Mint to say, hey, we're not doing proof sets this year, but due to a public outcry, they had to do something. So they threw in this special mint set, which I think is more of a hybrid on a business strike and a proof set. If it had a baby, this would be that coin. A lot of these special mint set coins did not come with a cameo. So that's why this one's on the list. And this one certainly did fetch in a pretty good chunk of cash. The cameo, again, the frosty devices are a little bit more muted on this example there, but they are there. And again, this is probably a registry set coin. Sold for $3,489.75. Now, it doesn't take a real rocket scientist to see why this coin is on the list. It doesn't even have full split bands, so that tells you a lot about what this one is. The color, the toning, is second to none. And shame on for a lot of folks out there that want to dip coins like this because of own personal feelings. All right, if you want a blast white coin, do yourself a favor. Send this one out to the grader, make a boatload of cash, and then go and pay $100 for that blast white coin. Because that is what's going to happen if someone dips this into Tarnex or some jewelry cleaner, gets rid of all that original archive color on there. You're going to turn a coin that in this particular instance, sold for $3,830.68 into a coin that's worth less than $100. It does that kind of irreparable damage when you tone things or when you dip coins like this, because it takes a long time to produce the kind of originality that you see here. All right, so the coin is not straightened up as you normally see it. And the coin does not have rotated die errors. It's just the coin was rotated in the slab holder. All right, so it's an earlier type. This is a 1902 Barber dime. We don't talk about Barber anything that often. There's just so few really nice quality pieces that come out on the marketplace that, you know, you just don't see them. Maybe once every few months. However, this one right here, Mid-State 66 Plus, New Orleans had it going on. What a beautiful coin. It's also part of the Simpson collection, which is a pretty nice, prominent early type collection. CAC certified as well. This is just a great all-purpose type of power play coin here for investors, for collectors, for registry sets. It has it all. This one sold for a blistering, and I mean blistering, $14,175. Just a magnificent specimen. All right, and we're going to round it off on a few quarters, starting out with the 1979 Washington quarter. What else can we say? It's just kind of like one of those ho-hum dates. Not really anything to add other than it's a registry set coin. Mid-State 67 Plus PCGS graded, of course, is going to be going into one of those registry sets online. This one right here is sold for $1,324.12. All right, so I talked about five-figure Lincoln cents earlier, but there's also a little bit of a kind of like sub-argument for early 60s. And when I mean early, it's silver era, pre-1965. Especially Denver's. Denver minted silvers of the 60s are all just of crappy quality. And that's the big reason why they are worth so much money. If you looked at the PCGS price guide, and you looked at dates like 61D, 62D, this one right here, 63D. You look all the way to the right where the top pricing point is for the top end grade. It's going to blow your mind. You're going to see $3 grand, $5 grand, $10 grand on there, and you're just going to be left shaking your head like, wow, these things were minted into oblivion. So what do we got? Well, it's a Mid-State 67 Plus CAC certified example. It doesn't look flashy at first glance. As a matter of fact, whatever luster is on this coin is muted by the original tone skin. And it's all-encompassing. It has kind of like that grayish kind of pastel-y tone, which mutes away any luster that's on there. But when you look at the coin deep down on its surface, it's generally a very nice high-quality coin that's going to end up in a registry set. This one, 67 plus again, very high, very overachieving grade, sold for $5,129.99. Now, this is the type of coin that we want to cherry pick, right? For those of you that like to buy scrap silver, all right, there are possibilities that you could find things like this 1918 over 7 overdate. It is a San Francisco minted coin with just enough of the date on there. As you guys know, it's a very well-worn area of the coin. It's at its highest point. So finding one that has just a partial date and you can make out the overdate is going to be the key to your success. You know, along with the 1916, where there was only a handful of them produced, 52,000? You can identify a 1916 without a date on it. Just looking at things like the hair, the drapery, and a few of the rivets on the shield that you see right there. These low-grade coins, yeah, granted, it's been cleaned, but who cares? You have found one of the toughest rarities out there, and you could essentially, this is one of those like realistic cherry-picking type of possibilities. You could cherry-pick a coin like this for about $6 to $7, and then turn around and sell it, in this particular case, for $2,032.62. The 1916 that grades at like a good 6 with no readable date sells pretty close to what this one sold for today. This is just, again, if you know what you're looking for and you have specific dates of coins without a date, like Buffalo Nickels, the 1916 DDO, is another one that's identifiable without a readable date. And people make the mistake of actually doing a acid date or nickel date on those buffaloes and just ruining the value of the coin, coming to find out it is a genuine 16 DDO, which is worth a lot of money. But yeah, $2,000 right here is a pretty good compromise on the coin that was cherry picked for pennies on the dollar. Something to think about. And then finally, we're going to end it off on just a low-key, really tough, very scarce coin in this grade. You'll notice that it has the 3 stars under the eagle, so this is indeed a 17 Type 2. That's important. We see a lot of 17 Type 1s that grade out really high and sell really well, but the one type that not a lot of people were, I guess, targeting is the Type 2 version of this. And they did some modifications to the coin so that way it wears a little bit better. They even covered up Lady Liberty's breast area because the Type 1s had the exposed breast. They put a chainmail on this one to help appease more people that were really against that design. Mid-State 67 full head, all right? So it's got everything on there. It's got great hair detail. It's got that little ear hole is what you want to see as well. Type 2, just a beautiful registry set, investment, collector piece. Man, you could just, it goes across the board when there's multiple kind of desires for a coin like this. It sells for a lot more. This one sold for $9,506.25. Just a really awesome way to end off this week's Monday market report for the week ending March 13th. A new week and more coins to look out for. We're going to talk more about some more modern graded coins next weekend, or this weekend rather. So stay tuned for that. Thank you again. I'm your host Sean with Blue Ridge Silverhound. It sure was a pleasure. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Do all that great stuff. Sorry for being so wordy in this one. But we have a lot of great things that I needed to just kind of throw out there so that way you guys are aware of how these coins came to be, how they were sold, how they realized the prices that they did, and my own personal perspective on crappy coins like that 60 nickel is surely going to resonate with a few of you. But that's it, guys. It was a pleasure. You guys have a wonderful Monday. Don't work so hard. And I'll see you on the next coin video. So long.